Talk about a road trip from hell! Kristen here, and today we're talking about the brand new Prime Video movie Emergency. Director Carey Williams made his Sundance debut last year with R#J, a diverse and experimental social media first take on Romeo and Juliet, and now he's back with Emergency, a timely social commentary satire that tackles racism and white privilege throughout one wild college night. Based on Williams' 2018 short film of the same name, Emergency centers around the friendship between Kunle, played by Donald Elise Watkins, and Sean, played by RJ Cyler, who are opposing forces. Kunle is buttoned up and studious, and he's a biology student from a wealthy African-American family with plans to go to Princeton.
Take it easy. Don't get Kunle into any trouble. That boy's black excellence.
While his best friend Sean is all about partying and getting high. As they near graduation, they plan to make history as the first black men to successfully complete the legendary tour, attending a string of frat parties that take place in one night. But their plan goes off the rails when they arrive home and find a random white girl passed out in their living room.
Sean, what? Where's Carlos?
There's an unconscious white girl in our living room.
What?
Kunle wants to call the police, but Sean is worried that as black and Latino men, they're gonna get blamed for this.
We should call 911.
Hey, stop! You crazy?
We didn't do anything
stop.
wrong.
We don't have to do nothing wrong, Kunle. The cops are not gonna listen. They just gonna come in here and see three brown guys hanging over this little white girl.
Alongside their gamer roommate Carlos, played by a standout Sebastian Chacon, they struggle to make a decision about what to do, bringing up a film-long debate on the system and if it's rigged against black and brown people. Ultimately, they decide to drive this girl, who they dub Goldilocks, to the hospital and ended up on this really stressful comedy road trip that expertly explores racial biases as they try to help this woman without compromising themselves in the process. Emergency has a lot to say about the way American society views black and brown men from a variety of different perspectives. You have Sean, who's wary of this journey from the beginning because he knows what it's like to be a black man in America and that they're going to have a harder time being believed. You have Kunle, who doesn't really have quite the same perspective at first as Sean because he comes from a more privileged background. He's convinced that being smart by doing the right thing is gonna stop him from having to deal with any systemic racism.
How many people actually get shot by the cops? It's like really, really unlikely, right?
What are you talking about?
But he finds out that that's not really true over the course of the night. Cyler and Watkins do a really great job playing off of each other, and it's so refreshing to see the different perspectives that their characters have as African-American men. Sebastian Chacon is a scene stealer. He has these really sweet and caring moments as Carlos.
The first thing that I thought when I first read the script was that I'm never gonna book that part. Like I almost did an audition to play like a nerdy, awkward, like the rocket scientist like type. I had played like career criminals over and over again, and like to come into something like this is just like, wow, like yeah, I could do that. Of course I could. Like why not? You know. So really from the outset, it's immediately like you're thinking about how you're perceived. You're thinking about like what is possible. You know.
Maddie Nichols, who plays Goldilocks, brings a lot of humor and heart to her drunken mumblings about her insecurities with her sister as they go on this journey. Things escalate even further when Goldilocks' sister Maddie, who's played by Sabrina Carpenter, arrives and makes a lot of assumptions about what is going on in this situation. The film goes from humorous to frustrating to horrifying as the miscommunications just get more and more dramatic. The film really evokes these like claustrophobic feelings of being trapped in this situation that you can't control because of something as simple as skin color. And it's really easy for someone to misinterpret what's going on here and ruin these young men's lives because of stereotypes and racism. Although I do think it's important to note that like at the same time, we've been living through the Me Too movement, and so it is kind of scary, the idea of this young woman with these random men that she doesn't know, regardless of race. With a stellar young cast and a focus on racial commentary, I think that Emergency does a really great job of bringing a fresh and realistic take to this traditionally white-led comedy party genre and giving us something a little bit different and tackling those topics of, you know, stereotypes and race and white guilt. There's this really great scene at the end where Sabrina Carpenter's character is coming back and trying to apologize for all of these, you know, assumptions she had, and they don't want to hear it. And I was able to interview the cast, and I actually found out that they filmed that scene a couple of different ways.
It's interesting because there's a couple of different ways that we shot that. So that was something that we actually, when we watched it, we were like, oh, whoa.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
there was a version of that scene where we shot it and she actually has this whole speech and tells us, I'm sorry, you know, actually, let me fold this up, blah, blah, and to you know, this whole moment. But I guess like it was thought that it would better serve the movie to have us actually reject that apology.
Right. Because you don't need it. And I like that because you don't need it. Words won't take away the trauma for Kunle. Like, we get a chance to see this man lose his innocence, and you'll never get it back once you've experienced that. So it doesn't matter what you say here. This apology isn't for me.
It's for her.
It's for you. It's to make you feel better.
Go in the mirror, do this self-work, go to therapy, and chill out.
They even were curious to see what was going to make it to screen, and I thought that was really fascinating and just gave a really interesting insight into their different experiences and their reactions to them. Emergency is currently in limited theaters and will be on Prime Video starting May 27th, so make sure to check it out. And if you have seen it already, I want to know, did you love it, did you hate it? I want to hear your thoughts. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and if you want to talk more TV and movies with me outside of the comments section, check out the exclusive Discord available on my Patreon at patreon.com/kmaldo. If you like this one, you can check out more of my videos right over here. See ya!